All right, so as you open up SketchUp, this is the first screen that you're going to be probably seeing. We will use architectural meters as a way to first commence with our model. On SketchUp, on the left side, you will see the major toolbar, the large tool set. On the right, you have the trays that we're going to be using. The layers that we need are the large tool set, measurements, styles, and tags. This is the large tool set right here. The measurements are at the corner, the styles, and then the tags. First thing we do is set the standard grooves to top, go to camera, parallel projection. You zoom out slightly, and the way you do so is using the middle scroll of the mouse. We're going to create the basic shape. So we use the line tool, the pencil tool, left click once, go across, and enter in a dimension, in this case 20, and press enter, and that makes a line of 20 meters across. We do the same thing, 15, enter, and that makes a line. We drag our mouse across 20, that's the line, and another 15, and that makes the shape. Another way to do the same thing is to use the rectangle tool and left click once, drag your mouse, and type in 20, 15 for the other side, and press enter, and that makes the shape that way. You might also notice that the line, as I drag it across, is a red line, which is running parallel to the x-axis, and then it turns green when it's on the green axis or the y-axis. For anything else, that line color changes to black. This is to denote that if things are running parallel or perpendicular. The next order is that we're going to now continue building that model slightly. So what we'll do is let's add a 4 meter and a 15. So 4 and then 15. So that makes the length. Then let's add another 3 meters on this side. Go across 15. Again, left click, 3 meters. Go across down 15 this way. Then we have 10 meters by 8. And that we get that side. Then from the top, we have 10. And below we get 5. And then close it off. We can also use the erase tool to erase the lines here. You can find the erase here, which is right next to the paint bucket, and zoom in and left click once, and that line is gone. We can also check the dimensions of the ones that we have created. So that is down here, dimensions button, left click once, left click to the other side, go across, and that's 20. That's what we wanted. Same thing here. We know our dimensions are correct. Next up, we'll add the buildings. So we'll do something like that. We So I'll do 7, 5. Here on this side as well. So 6, 3. So these are our 2 buildings that we have put on our site. Next bit is we go to camera, standard views, ISO, and that gives us the isometric viewpoint of what we have just created. The other command that we are going to be using is the push and pull command. Here we will extrude these objects such that they will now look more like a site model. So let's say the first building we can say is about 14 meters high. The smaller one is, let's say, 11. We can then make the road a bit higher, 0.5. Left click once, 1. And we push these up. That's our very basic model that we have just created. We can also add materials to it, and that can be found here on the right side where there's the default tray, and we add different textures to the model. When you scroll down, you will also notice that there are some styles. These are useful for changing the way it is represented more visually. There are many that you can choose from, but the typical ones that we will be using will be default styles mainly. As we have now the basic model, we can continue to enhance it slightly. So I'll show you a few other things we can do. One of them is the offset tool, which is right here. And let's assume for a second that perhaps this is more of a planter edge. This is the road, that's a footpath, and that's the planter edge. So we left click once using that command once you open that. And you notice that these lines offset from that one edge. We can give it a particular dimension. So let's say it's 0.25, and that makes a line offset to that one. And we can continue to push and pull that one. And as you click here, this could be a further planter edge, which is above the footpath. So when we go back to the materials, we could say something like that perhaps this is now the grass, and that's the planter edge. It could also be very helpful if we have made this into a building and that is into another building. So we can do something like that. We can use the select tool right here, left click and drag. And you will notice that these lines are dashed. That means that anything within this box or anything that this selected area touches will be selected as a whole. Conversely, if you do something like that on left click once and then go onto the other side, it's not going to select that. It's only going to select whatever is within that black outline. So we're going to select this and make this into a building. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to make it into a component and give it a name. So let's say building A and press enter. Same thing, I'll do that for this one. Make sure it's selected, right click, make component. I'm going to say building B and press enter. So now this and that is our building. Similarly, we can now begin to move this component and using the move tool, which is right here. So we select any one corner and move it to any one edge. Left click, drag, and it goes anywhere. If we want to move it into a particular spot, what we could do is left click, and before you click again, just type in the dimension that you want. So let's say 1.25, and then press enter. It's going to offset or move to 1.25 meters this way. Likewise, we can do it on this side as well, and you can say, okay, maybe it's from this side is about another 1.25 meters. Press enter, and there it is. Let's do the other building as well. So black arrow to select, use the move tool, left click. I'm going to bring it here, and then I'm going to give it an offset of 1.25. Left click across 1.25. And there you have it. So both buildings are now 1.25 offset from the corner. As I'm now happy with the model thus far, what I will also do is create a scene. Scenes are the overall angle by which you look at that model. And that is done through pressing this plus sign or create a new scene. Or you could also go down here to your trays where it goes under scenes and create a new scene right here. And that's the view that we get. So every time we make any modification to the model in any way, in any direction, we can double click on the scene and it will go back to the way it was. This is quite useful because as we make changes, it becomes easier to go back to our original viewpoint when we begin to diagram things. You will also notice that there is a section plane right here. This is interesting because it allows us to create a section line across. So let me just show you how it looks like. So you'll know when I do that, now you can see that I can now move this across. Oops. I can move the section line across and you can see the changes that are happening. So once you've made this model, this is the one that can be uploaded on Blackboard.